Tremendous cute, tremendous cute, tremendous cute.
Who's your favorite pitmaster's favorite pitmaster?
Way!
Hey, what's going on, Tremendous Cute fans? It's your boy here, Wade Morris, owner of Pitmaster Tremendous Cute, and I am back with one of my two favorite things to cook outside of barbecue, alright, and eat, as a matter of fact, and that's Cajun style food. So, a couple years ago, my fraternity had their convention, their national convention in New Orleans, alright, and I had grilled oysters for the first time. I have never attempted to eat these things raw, and I don't ever intend to, alright? So hats off to anybody that could do it. You are a much better man than I am. For me, personally, I like these things grilled though. Love them, alright? So I had them down in New Orleans, came back, tried to replicate it as best that I could, and I think I've gotten pretty close. So with that, I just want to go ahead and jump right into this video and let you guys see what it is that I thought was a good Cajun style grilled oyster, alright? If you guys like what you see, please leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's jump right into it, alright?
Alright, and here we go. Low-key, I'm a little excited. I love grilling oysters and I love grilling lambs. These are one of my two favorite things that are not traditional barbecue that I absolutely love to do. So at the outset, just going to take a couple of seconds and we're going to get the oysters taken out of the bag and cleaned all the way off. There's a lot of like small little basically sand and grit that you got to deal with these things, so you want to make sure that you clean them thoroughly. All right, so once these things are clean, I want to bring it around and show you kind of the anatomy of it and how you get it open. With every oyster, there's two shells. You got the top and the bottom shell, all right? The bottom shell has a valley, all right? There's basically a huge dip, and the top shell is going to be flatter. So you want to make sure that the bottom shell is down when you're opening these things. That way you can save as much of the milk as you can. What I'm pointing out right here is the knuckle, okay? So the knuckle is basically where you're going to take your opener, whether you're using a screwdriver or a flathead screwdriver or an actual shucker, and that's what you're going to jam into the knuckle, and you're going to twist it until you hear a little pop. All right, once you hear that little pop, you're going to take your, just set your whatever the device it is that you're using down, and then you're going to basically grab from the knuckle in and you're going to pull it open so that you can expose the meat on the inside. All right, so there's meat. There's two attachments, all right? So again, this is an actual organism, so it's got intestines, heart, and all that good stuff. And the top and the bottom shells are basically connected to the meat. So you're gonna want to take your device, whatever you're using, your screwdriver or your shucker, and you're gonna want to scrape both the top and the bottom. And if you notice, again, on the bottom, we got the bottom down. That way we can save all of that milk, all of that juice on the inside, because that's what we're going to cook the oyster inside of those. So for you cats out there that like eating these things raw, I'm sure you know a little bit of something about keeping the bottom down. You can help save all of that. Me, I can't get down with it. I've tried it a couple of times, and the texture, whatever it is, it's just disgusting. All right, so moving on, we got the bottom, and like I said previously, we're going to go ahead and remove the meat from the bottom as well. This way, after it's done cooking, all you need is a fork. You don't have to go in there and detach the meat from the bottom as well. All right, so I'm going to do about 3 more of these things at about 3 times speed, so you can kind of get an example, or a good example, of how to open them, and once you actually get the knuckle popped, what to actually do. And the last note I want to give when you're opening these things is, no matter what you're using, please make sure that you grab some sort of a towel or something, or use a glove on your non-working hand. That way you can protect that hand. All right, I'm using a screwdriver. I don't have a fancy shucker, and quite frankly, I don't think you need one. I sanitized the screwdriver. This is one that I just had laying around the house. It was from a kit that I used, a kit that I got for a holiday, and I didn't use all of the tools in it. So once we get these last few open, I'm gonna basically take the last oyster, and I want to show you guys what the oyster looks like once it's completely removed, all right, with the meat that you're actually going to be eating. Okay, so that's it. This is the bottom half of the shell, and as you can see, I'm gonna pick this thing up real quick so you can see what it looks like. It's going to shrivel down a lot. You'll see at the end of the video, these things are going to shrivel down a lot once you actually cook them, but you see that milk dripping off of those things. That's what you want. Okay, so let's go ahead and set that back down and head over to our grill. And starting on the equipment today, we got Kingsford charcoal and our Kingsford kettle grill. All right, so the ingredients we're going to be using are butter, chives, dark chili pepper or powdered, black pepper, sea salt, and cayenne pepper. All right, so we're going to go ahead, get a skillet hot, get that butter melted, and then get all of the ingredients, the dry ingredients, and just basically dump them in there and cook them until you are comfortable. So Basically, I go until the chives get pretty soft. I think in the official delicatessen or culinary world, we call it al dente. All right. So yeah, we're gonna cook these things until just cook them down a little bit. All right. There's no specific science to it. I think these things went for about 2 to 3 minutes. Like I said, it's right over the charcoal, so they were the skillet got pretty hot pretty fast. All right. Once those are done, we're gonna go ahead and remove the skillet, but don't go too far. Have your oysters right there and ready. Get your oysters lined up on your grill, all right? And you're gonna have to move fast, or at least wear a glove, all right? Because when you start pouring this butter into these things, it's gonna drip into the coals, and you're definitely gonna have flare up. So you can do one or two things. You can be smart, like my wife suggested I do, and use a spoon to dump that little, basically that butter, chive, and onions, and all the spices and stuff. You can be smart and use a spoon to dump them in there, or you can use the overall skillet if you're trying to save on dishes. So in the interest of my eyebrows, I think next go around we're going to probably go ahead and use a spoon. Here's a close-up of these things cooking down. I did not cut anything out. Basically, it's just a time warp. You can see the muscle, the meat on the inside of these things start to shrivel up as it absorbs those butter and spices. After about 3 to 5 minutes, they're done, and we can take them inside. So here's a real quick close-up shot. I'm gonna slow it down. Some of these things get hit with a little bit more flame than the other ones, but long story short, that's what it looks like done. All right, the butter's caramelized, the spices have stuck to the meat, and you got a grilled oyster. That's a great snack for you and the fam.